This is God's world, and He gets to set the rules. I see godless ideologies that have spread throughout Western civilization over the last several decades with a vengeance.
I'd just like to directly address my white brothers and sisters out there.
To tell us what we are supposed to be seeing.
Seek outside counsel. We're just not experts in this.
I believe that God has given particularly what we call white evangelicals a divine opportunity.
Many of these ideologies have been smuggled into many evangelical churches and organizations through the Trojan horse of social justice.
We've got an opportunity to prove we need to listen more than we talk.
I was not trained in any of this. Churches are going to be better for finding subject matter experts and pulling them in.
We've not been black.
This understanding is what causes so many who are moving in these circles, advocating these ideologies, to tell people in the hegemony that what they must do is sit down and be quiet and listen.
Let's really step up to the plate and humble ourselves the way every Christian should humble themselves and say to the jihadis and to say to my brothers and sisters here, teach us.
And I think some people think the gospel would advance much more rapidly if we ingratiated ourselves to the culture. So there's that impulse, and then sometimes just a tenderness, like, what could possibly matter if she preached? She's got a Bible word. I heard somebody on TV and she preached better than my preacher.
A Southern Baptist convention that doesn't have a place for Beth Moore doesn't have a place for a lot of us.
We need to turn the women loose with the gift that God have ordained them to even preach to men and women. And that's exactly what Paul instructed Phoebe to do.
And then we talk ourselves into outsmarting the Bible. And it's almost like, yeah, let's try a little of that. Well, no, that wouldn't matter either. And then you wake up one day and like you're egalitarian.
We're always having the powers, the spiritual powers and principalities exert pressure on us. That's not new.
So if we can take a clear passage of Scripture that says, I do not permit a woman to teach or exercise authority, when we're finished with it, it now says, I do permit a woman in some cases, then there is no stopping where you can take that and where that will go.
I had a major newspaper call me and accost me with that. You know, can you deny the complementarianism behind much abuse? I said, well, clearly it was not motivating Harvey Weinstein.
Yeah, that's right.
The ideas of liberal Christianity did not die. And they're here with a vengeance.
The critical race theory and intersectionality are simply analytical tools. They're meant to be used as tools, not as a
They're not. That's not true. It's naive.
And we're seeing all of this overt attack from the left outside of the church, but the insidious stuff inside the church, frequently that people don't even recognize for what it is, that uses our guilt and our shame against us to get us to do self-destructive things.
You see, it's precisely at this point that I think we're being played. We recognize the obligation, and we can be played into their agenda as to what to do in order to pursue justice.
That has been their core tactic for a century and a half. It's not new. It's not even new to Southern Baptists, because Satan does this. He is constantly telling you you should be guilty when you're forgiven. He is constantly asking you to live with regrets when the Father has taken all the sins of the world.